Let's make sure we can deliver push notifications to an Android application. And for that, we got all the steps required here in this official documentation of this package. And it is worth following along with that documentation in case some tiny step changed since I recorded this video. So the first goal is to create an Android project in the Firebase console and essentially link that project to your Flutter app. Now, we already did this at the very beginning of this module, so if you just came in here for the push notifications, at least go back to the beginning of the module and check out the Firebase SDK setup steps there to see how to link Firebase to a Flutter project. So we're already done with step 1 therefore. We also completed parts of the next steps, but let's verify that everything is set up correctly there. For example, in our Android build Gradle file, we should have these two dependencies. So let's go there. Let's go to the Android folder and then the build Gradle file. And there make sure that you have that Google Services dependency, which we have. And make sure that you also have that tools build Gradle dependency there. And I also do have that there. And you should have both, but again, verify it. Next, make sure you apply this plugin here in your Android app build Gradle file. So in the app folder, there's another build Gradle file. And in there, make sure that at the bottom of the file, you have this line. Now, I don't have it at the bottom, but actually here at the top. So to avoid any issues, let me just move that to the bottom of that file. But with that, we should be fine here as well. Now, with that, we're done with the basic setup. And in case you're wondering when this identification step between our app and the push notification server will happen, well, that happened with those steps. We linked our Firebase project to our Android Flutter project, and that is this identification that ensures that only you, the developer of the app, who has access to both the app and your Firebase project, is authorized to send push notifications. So that is this identification step for Android. Now, also one important note, to test push notifications, you need a device that has Google Play services installed. So you should ensure that this is the case on your real device, but also on your emulator. And to verify this on your emulator, you can bring up Android Studio and there simply open that AVD manager. And here make sure that the emulator you're running has this Play Store icon. With that, you should be fine. So with that, we're done with all of that, but there is one optional but recommended step which we also will complete here. And this is a step that ensures that when we later receive a push notification and we tap on it when our app is not opened, the app will open up and we are able to handle this notification inside of the app. If you skip step 4, you will be able to get notifications, but you won't be able to tap on them and then do something in your app based on the notification. So in order to be able to do that, make sure that you add this intent filter within the activity tag of your Android app source main Android manifest XML file. So let's go to Android app source main Android manifest. And there is this activity node. And we already got one intent filter here. Make sure you also add this other intent filter, which you just copied from that article I was just on. This ensures that incoming messages can be handled by tapping on them and by then doing something in your app. So this should be added here. And with that, you're done. Now, that background messages part is something different, not related to the push notifications we're going to handle, and therefore we can skip all those background messages steps. Now, if that is something you need in your app, you can of course add this, but again, here we won't need this. So therefore, we're done with the Android setup. Now, before we dive into that iOS setup, let's actually check whether it works. And therefore, we can scroll down to sending messages. We'll work on receiving and doing something with messages later. For now, let's scroll down to sending messages and follow the steps there. And thankfully, we can send a dummy message from inside the Firebase console. So here in your Firebase project, which you created at the beginning of the module and where we have the database and everything, we can scroll down to cloud messaging. And if you click on cloud messaging, you can click on send your first message. Now here you can enter a title like test and some text. Does this work? You can include an image, but we're not going to do this here. And a name, which we're also not going to do here. And instead we can click on next here. Now we need to specify a target. And here we're going to target a user if app, and then pick our Android app here. And click on next. Make sure to send it now. You could also schedule it, but I want to send it now. We can skip this step here. And now on the last step, there is one thing we can set. We see that here in the official docs too. We want to set a click action field under custom data to set this here, this identifier as the click action. That is what will later connect to this intent filter to basically allow Android to make the link between this notification and our app and allow us to handle this inside of the app. For the moment, I'll send a message without that though. And therefore, let's click review here and then publish. Just one extra note about this cloud messaging console, which we're seeing here. This is not just for testing. This is actually a tool you can use if you want to send out push notifications to the users of your application, for example, for marketing or to share an important information with them. So this is your channel to your users, so to say, to send out push notifications to them. Now, of course, you can also automate this, for example, to send a push notification if a user sends a new chat message, but that's something we'll do later in the course. Whenever you want to test, or you have the scenario that you as the app owner and developer want to send out push notifications to your users, this cloud messaging tool here, this cloud messaging console here in this Firebase project is the tool you could use to send those messages. Now you might not be seeing any notification here on your emulator, but you should see some error here. Error while delivering the message, service intent not found. So let's actually quit any running processes here and restart your app, because we added a new package and we even changed something in the Android config, and you should absolutely restart your app thereafter. So make sure you do that. You restart your application. You rebuild and restart your application, I should say. And once that's finished, let's go back. And here on your previous message, you can click on those three dots, click on duplicate notification to just send it again, click on review and publish. And now you'll see a different message here. Failed to find callback. So that's now a different message, and this in the end proves that something seemed to happen on our device. And please note that this is the case if the app is open in the foreground. Now let's see what happens if we kill this application with the task manager, and therefore of course this running process here finishes as well, and we duplicate this again. Duplicate, review, and publish it. And now you will see here is your push notification arriving on this device. You now have it here with your app icon here. And that's just a Flutter icon because that is the default app icon. Now if we tap this, we're taken to our application, so that works. But right now we'll not be able to handle the notification in there. We'll not be able to do something with it here. So that's the missing part. That's what we'll take care about next. And of course, we'll then also make sure that we handle notifications when we get them whilst the app is running, because that is where we previously got this fatal failed to find callback error. But generally, sending messages to Android works now. Now, before we integrate all the remaining steps and we set up some code to handle messages, let's make sure we also set up everything for iOS.